Welcome, everyone. I'm Mike Galanos. There you hear Jodi Arias one more time. You see her family. Travis Alexander's family's been in the courtroom every day. So much more still to come. We want to make that point clear. Where we left off is Jodi Arias against the prosecutor, Juan Martinez. This really round two. We could have more juror questions coming. We've got experts still lined up, potentially a rebuttal case. So we are still in the thick of this death penalty murder trial. Let's bring in our experts. We welcome back Beth Karras, an attorney, legal correspondent for In Session on her sister network, True TV. Beth knows this case inside and out. And we also welcome Alison Tressl, defense attorney and creator of the smartphone app, Wild About Trial. Alison, besides where he's going or could go as we look ahead, what have you thought of his style? Too combative or right on with someone like Jodi Arias?
You know, she's very squirrely on the stand, so he has had to be very forceful and really try and control this witness. Most people see his style as appropriate given all the lies that she has told and the fact that he really needs to nail her down on her news story. Got it.
Squirrely on the stand. That's one we haven't heard yet. Pretty apropos as what we've seen. Allison, as you've watched this case, has he proven that? Has he proven premeditated murder here to this point?
Well, I certainly think that the gas cans are a big ticket item. The gas cans show that she intended to go to Arizona unrecognized, that she loaded her car with enough gas to get to and back while in California. That's a big point in terms of proving that she planned this out beforehand. And he's really hammered it home. It was a double whammy because it's also showing that she's lying to this jury, which will infuriate them.
Got it. Okay. There's Jodi Arias throwing that dig. Allison, how could Jodi Arias be hurt if Mormonism becomes a larger theme? That maybe she's insincere and just converted to get him?
Right. I think that's the point. I think they're questioning her commitment to Mormonism. I think that they very much have said, you've made a mockery of this religion. The only reason you committed yourself to Mormonism is so you could worm your way into Travis Alexander's life. I don't see that they're asking questions that attack Travis Alexander. I see them as attacking her and her commitment to the faith, and that these sexcapades were not at all in line with the teachings of Mormonism. So I think it's another way that they're saying to her, you know, we don't believe you.
Yeah, insincere, yeah. Again, let's get our experts in on this. Alison Tressl with us. She's a defense attorney and also creator of the smartphone app Wild About Trial. Beth Karras with us as well. Knows the case inside and out. Beth, an attorney and legal correspondent for In Session on True TV. Alison, I'll let you take first crack at this. What are you seeing from the jury? I mean, is it straight up sarcasm and basically the undercurrent is, you're full of it, Jodi?
I think they're wiping her nose in it. I really think they bring their own personal experiences and common sense here. And they're saying, how can you remember what you drank 5 years ago at Starbucks, but you can't remember stabbing this man nearly 30 times? We're not buying it. We just are not buying it. How convenient that she forgets the most important and really the only reason they're there. What happened and why did she kill him? They're not buying it.
Got it. Hey, Allison, how important are these experts? Could this case hinge on what these two have to say and how they testify?
They're critical. One thing that's really important is, as a defense attorney, you play the hand that you're dealt, and this has been a very difficult hand for the defense. I probably wouldn't have put her on the stand, but they chose to because they felt that that was the only way they could get this defense in, that they had to have her go up and explain all the things that have led up to this and what happened in her life. Of course, the backfire effect may be that the jury says, this is another thing, like the Mormonism, that you're abusing. And we don't think that you are a battered woman. And how dare you use this claim and really pervert it. So it may backfire, but those experts are key. They're all that Jodi Arias has, and it's the reason that she was on the stand so long to set it up.
Yep. You guys have both pointed out that very well. Let everybody know.
She had force, and she's not going to get that force if he's on his back, going like that. She's underneath him, drawing that knife across him, and it was a clean cut across him, severing his airway all the way back to his spinal cord. Then the accidental photo occurred. That was 1 minute, 44 seconds after he was last seen alive. It's incredibly fast, this whole thing.
Yep. Hey,
and then she dragged him into the shower, washed him off, and shot him in the head.
Allison, that's quite a closing argument there from Beth. Will we hear that?
You know,
Will we hear that?
As I was listening to it, I thought Beth should be on the prosecution because it was the most concise, clear explanation that I've heard, excuse me, since this trial began. But that's exactly what Mr. Martinez is going to do. He's going to go blow by blow. And the fact that she goes into this fog and says, I don't remember, you know, I don't know what happened, to your viewer's question, of course there's problems with that. I mean, that's a really active crime scene. She did a lot. She didn't just shoot him one time in the head. She repeatedly stabbed him all over his torso, on his back. They're in different places. She slit his throat. Those are things that Martinez is going to hammer home. This wasn't one shot and then she leaves. Not at all.
All right.
So that Beth previewed where Mr. Martinez is going to go.
Yeah. All right. And we're going to have more.
Hi.
Hey.
My question is about the day of the murder. I understood that Travis's dog was there because Jodi mentioned that when she came in. I'd like to know if anyone knows, what did Jodi do with the dog during the murder? And also, what did Jodi do with the dog after the murder? Did she just leave the animal in the house for 4 or 5 days by itself? Does anybody know the answer?
How about that? Hey, Allison, how about that? Little Napoleon the dog. Could Napoleon have been a witness?
Right. Elaine, that's a great question. And so many of us have said in a lot of these cases, only if these animals could speak, we would know what really happened. I mean, if this dog had a little video cam, you know, on its neck, we could see what happened. But it's a great question. And certainly there's been questions of, you know, why didn't the dog react? Did anybody hear anything? I think you kind of stumped me because I don't think there's really been any information or additional evidence about the dog.
There you go, Jodi Arias in that 48 Hours interview. A convincing liar, right? That was all crap. But she told it with some gusto there. Let's bring in our experts. Gene Casares with us now, attorney, legal correspondent for In Session on True TV, knows this case like the back of her hand. Alison Tressl back with us as well, again, a defense attorney and creator of the smartphone app, Wild About Trial. Okay, Alison, what are your thoughts on that? That Jodi Arias potentially has seduced one or two jury members through all this?
All right, let me start with the lying issue. It is very important when Martinez is establishing that she's lying to them on the stand. That will be a jury instruction that if she's distrustful, if she's lied to the jury about one issue, then you can distrust her entire testimony. Very, very important. In terms of sympathy, there may have been a time where they connected with her, felt sorry for her, but she's been on the stand so long, and those questions are really scathing, and they're really sticking her nose in it. I don't believe that. I think that sympathy may be turning to anger now.
Got it.
So I'm not sure it's helping.
Well, again, 17 days, let's point it out. 17 days she's been on the stand and more to come as she takes the stand again against Juan Martinez. There you go. And Allison, you've mentioned it. So as Juan Martinez continues to sink his teeth into her, I mean, how much more is he just going to hit on the lies? And not did she lie then, she's lying now, jury.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has to prove all of his points in the lies. But at some point, his beatings have to stop because for both sides, there's going to be juror fatigue, and they're going to say, okay, enough is enough. We get it. She's lied. She did this. Let's end this case. So I think that he's definitely has her against the ropes. He's knocked her down. She's gotten back up. She's really more skilled than anybody I've ever seen in wiggling her way out of things. But at some point, they're going to say, enough is enough. We get it. She did it. Let's go home.
Yeah, you used the term squirrely. Well, let's, Allison, let's move forward here. And again, we've got a lot to go here. We still have Juan Martinez. We've still got potentially more jury questions, rebuttal case, closing arguments. Long way to go. But let's take that term convicted. If she's convicted, a lot of people are wondering, we get questions. Could she get the death penalty? Second-degree murder. What are you seeing here? And let's go with the lesser. What could tell you this could go second-degree murder, Allison?
If they don't prove premeditation, if the prosecution is unable to, she lied, she covered it up, the crime itself was as gruesome as any crime we've ever seen, but they need to prove, and it is the prosecution's burden, they need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this murder was premeditated. So that's why the gas cans, the gun, all of that means so much. The rental car, the license plate upside down, all of those things show, and probably beyond a reasonable doubt, that she intended to go to Arizona and kill Travis Alexander.
Real quick, Alison, do you think that the jury's getting that? Do you think they took the prosecutor's point on that Jodi was orchestrating the pictures?
Well, if they believe the prosecutor, then they're going to see this woman as really diabolical, that she, in fact, staged this entire scene and had his defenses down, taking pictures of him, only to have follow through the plan that she had to slaughter him.
Got it.
So I don't think that's going to help her.
But I think jury fatigue is probably real in circumstances.
Alison, weigh in on that. Do you see it, and could that change things here down the stretch?
Well, part of me thinks, yes, they're getting very tired. They're getting tired of listening to her. But then I just thought about the fact that they still have more questions for her. So they still keep filling that basket of questions. So they don't seem to be done yet. Now, I do say that this trial has to go on a bit longer because Martinez has to put up some strong rebuttal witnesses. He's got to bring up some witnesses to say, especially the roommates, we never saw him with a gun. He never had a gun. He never bought a gun. They've got to get there. They've got to talk about the gas cans and prove up the fact that she did not return that gas can. So those parts are crucial for the prosecution's case.
Yeah, you make a good point.
Well, from what I've seen and from what our reporter tells me every day is every time Martinez asks questions, they are attentive. That Jodi Arias' attorney, his style seems to be a little bit slow-paced. He doesn't really captivate and hold the jurors' attention. And he needs to take those, he needs those clues. That's important.
Got it. Okay, coming up, we're still going to take your calls. You guys have great questions. Gene, Alison are ready to go.
Yes, my question would be to her if you're really innocent, like you say you are, show us where the gun is. Because that'll prove that it belonged to Travis and not your grandparents. Without this gun, I'm pretty sure she's going to walk.
Whoa.
She's going to walk.
So you think the lack of the gun is going to mean freedom? Alison, weigh in on that.
Wow, Peter, that's the first time that I've heard that. But, you know, I mean, the gun is really central, and it's a good question. Why doesn't she take him out to the desert and say this is where the gun was? Clearly they can run the gun and see who it was from, and if it wasn't her grandparents, then she's off the hook. I don't agree with you, Peter, in the sense that I think there is a lot of other evidence there to show premeditation. And I think that they're going to focus on the gas cans as they should. The knife, they really have to stay away from it because they can't show that, they can't affirmatively establish that she brought it there. But focus on the gun, focus on the fact that he never owned guns, call his friends to say that he never owned a gun, and focus on the things that show that she came armed and ready to kill him that day.
And real quick.
Yes. I would have asked Jodi. She stated that after she shot Travis, he screamed and yelled and threatened to kill her. At that time, did he acknowledge that she had shot him? Did he scream in pain, grab his head, say, "Oh my God, you've shot me"? Did he make any acknowledgement? Because she can remember the threat to kill her, so did he acknowledge the gunshot wound?
Great question there, because I believe her testimony, Alison, is that she did not know that she had shot him, just that the gun had went off, and then he kept coming.
Right. I mean, her exact testimony is she was not aware that she shot him, that she fired and didn't know whether or not she'd hit him. So there was no information on what his reaction to being actually shot was. Very good point, but still, that is the one part of her testimony that is really blurry is the actual crime. So we don't know. We just simply don't know.